Welcome to the On Around podcast. Hello, Chay.
How's it going, mate?
Chay from Fife Autotech, all the way down from Scotland. My phone's ringing, sorry.
It's always warm.
How long was the journey today?
6 hours, 15 minutes.
6 hours 15.
6 hours, 15, so I had to stop for
A quick little toilet break. Right. You Scottish guys are committed. Fair play. We've had a few.
They've got to be, haven't they, really?
A few make the drive. It's shit for you guys, though, isn't it? You've got to, nothing's close.
No.
Everything in the automotive industry is miles away for you guys.
So I think it starts at Birmingham.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. DPF Doctor's up in there. That's kind of your closest event, isn't it?
Possibly, aye. Other than Barry's one.
Yeah, Barry's doing an event, although this may be... When is that event?
August.
Oh, it might be out before then. Yeah.
Third week of August. How far away are you from Barry?
45 minutes. No bad at all.
So we're here today to talk about what without blowing smoke up your backside, possibly one of the most remarkable startup garage businesses that I'm aware of. And I'd be surprised if many have done it better than you have. So for the listener, the story is essentially working at a dealership. You leave, you set up on your own.
Yeah.
And what year did you reach £1 million turnover?
Year 3 in the business.
Year 3, which is unbelievably good.
And what year did you start the business?
Year 0.
Right, yeah.
It was in COVID.
One year.
It was in COVID, wasn't it?
July 2020, so just after COVID.
Yeah, bonkers. So we're going to get into the story and just how, really. What is it about you and the team around you that have been able to do something that so many garages, they're operating for 20 plus years and they don't reach that figure, and you've done it so quickly. So do you want to just bit of an intro how you got into the motor industry, where it began, really? Because I think we need to understand that background to understand how you've been able to be so successful so quickly.
Got into the motor trade. I was having to stay on an extra 6 months at the school due to my birth date.
Due to what?
Just due to your birth date.
Oh right, just the way it fell.
If you're past a certain month in the year, you were a Christmas leaver. If you were before that, you were a summer
really?
leaver.
I've never heard of that. Okay.
So you could have people in your same year leave earlier.
Is that a Scottish thing?
I don't know. I thought that was.
Have you heard of that?
Nope.
Christmas leaver.
I know that. Just for us, it's if you're young, you get less. You start school earlier, sort of thing, don't you, basically?
No. In order to leave, you had to go. You had to stay in full time education. Otherwise, you had to stay at school.
Yeah.
So went and done the full time automotive course at the local college.
Yeah. Was that 3 days on, or was it 5 days, or was it?
I'm sure it was 5 days.
5 days. So full time college course.
Full time college course, which was good. Met great guys. The lecturer Stevie Grubb and stuff, phenomenal guy. He ended up getting me the apprenticeship in the end.
So you went from a full time college course, finished it, into an apprenticeship. Yeah.
So I was actually I wasn't going to follow through with the automotive thing because I got offered an apprenticeship with the council. It was roofing, so I'm glad I never took it. Working outside all the time, but
were you just attracted by the money at that point?
I was just wanting an apprenticeship.
Right. Okay.
Fair sort of wee miners village, sort of poor background, so I just wanted an apprenticeship because that's what everybody told you. Get an apprenticeship, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So when I applied for every apprenticeship the council offered, roofing was the one that I got accepted to, probably because I didn't get great grades and stuff at the school. And then it was the lecturer Stevie. He had says, "Stick it out. I'll get you an apprenticeship. You're made for this trade. Didn't leave and be a roofer. Didn't go and be a plumber."
Why did you pick automotive in the first place?
I think it was just I done something in third year. It was like determined to succeed. It was like a 6-week thing that you went and done. And they let you do a bit of welding, a bit of automotive, and a bit of.
Is this in school?
This was in school, but you went to the college to do it.
Right.
So it was during school.
Like an experience sort of day.
Yeah. So I quite enjoyed the motor industry side of it. So I decided to get out they had plenty of spaces to get out of the school because there wasn't what to stay on. I'll go to college and do that. So done the best part of the year, and it must have just been approaching like the final point of the year. You did the exam and stuff, and then I got offered the apprenticeship at the council. And Stevie says, "No, like stick it out. Like you'll do well in this trade. Just ride it out. I'll get you an apprenticeship." So he did. He ended up getting me my first apprenticeship. I was doing weekends and stuff, MB Motors, and then he took me on full time. So that was the starting point.
Was this an independent MB Motors?
Just to be independent garage.
Was it specialist MB? MB
no,
was it?
no,
MB's
that was his name, Martin Balfour.
Right.
So,
Okay.
worked with Martin for a couple of years. It didn't work out. We parted ways. And then I went away and started doing gardening with one of my mates. So like slabs and fencing and stuff like that, just to keep money coming in. Because I went in the Dole office. I must have been 18 by this point. So I went in the Dole office, and it was just junkies everywhere, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. So I went and...
Was it a bit of a sorry picture?
Aye. I was like, I'm not coming back here kind of thing. Like, not a chance. Not even if it is free money.
Yeah.
So we went and started doing the gardens with my mate and his uncle. And then...
Would say you was a good tech at this point? Had you falling in love with fixing cars, or were you...
No, I wouldn't say I'd fell in love with it, but I was very fortunate at MB Motors that he just chucked us in at the deep end, which was
a good way, that isn't it?
I think it's the best way to learn. Like 16-year-old taking cylinder heads off, and you clean them all up, put them back together, and double check.
So he was giving you proper jobs as an apprentice.
He was.
Yeah.
Like he was the garage that would do anything in the area.
Yeah,
like, we were always doing.
I remember one of my first jobs, I was given a Tigra. I talked about a Tigra head gasket, and they're one of those hardest to do on a Tigra they were back then. It was like, there you go, do that. And I think you just learn so much from that. And it's also, you feel kind of given that trust to kind of go and do it as well.
You're challenged as well, aren't you?
Aye, like and at that stage, first couple of years of the apprenticeships, everybody's still just servicing and stuff, and we never done a great deal of servicing. It was always engine work, or there's probably stuff nobody wanted to touch. Martin was he was a good mechanic, so he would take on anything.
Yeah.
And he just expected everybody else to do that as well, obviously, for the rest of the boys. So it was good, chucked in at the deep end, learned a lot in the first couple of years. So I didn't think I would struggle thereafter.
So why didn't you go and get another job as a tech? Why did you start?
I think I was scunnered. Like, I was gutted that I'd lost my job, and
right.
I was just like...
a bit beat up by it.
This was easy money, cash in hand. It was fine, it was easy. You were finished for 2 o'clock, and so I think it was just a bit to unwind, like, until I found something else. While that was happening, I was still going into the college. I think I was still continuing my college qualification one day a week with the apprentices. So they would allow you to do that for a certain period of time before they had
That's still a thing now, isn't it? I think.
So I done that. I think I was in a house party, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, my dad's got a garage, and we could be doing getting a hand out. Can you do engines and stuff?" I was like, "That's no bother." So he was like phoning me, and like, "I've got a Renault Traffic gearbox or a clutch today. You want to do it?" No problem. Go up and do it outside, like on jacks.
Imagine now stumbling across somebody that can just go, I can do an engine or a gearbox.
Go to a party and end up with a good tech. Yeah.
And then it kind of just snowballed. It was like the next day he'd phone and be like, "I've got a timing belt today." Or whatever.
So is he just paying you job by job sort of?
I was just like, what you wanting for it? And I was like, 50 quid. Mm-hmm. I ain't bother, come up and do it. Must have been rubbing his hands together like.
We've got some time belts downstairs, 50 quid if you want to come and help us while you're here.
Sound. So I get that then started me. I was back in the trade and at the garage. He started me full time after that. And the garage lost their MOT licence, which was the biggest part of their work.
How? If you can't say, you can't say, but was it negligence on their side?
Aye.
Was it?
It was MOTs being done when they shouldn't have been done. By people who shouldn't have been done.
You know what amazes me is just how much of that is still out there.
Aye.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Hopefully with the pictures coming
VRM is it's the thing, they should have done it, the technology's been around for years, don't know why they haven't done it.
Yeah.
It's not going to completely stop it, but it's going to make it significantantly harder.
Aye,
I feel like MOT tech's always been quite lagging, hasn't it? Like had the old smart card and dial-up modem.
Well, it made a big jump, didn't it, when the system went
digital.
Which I think the system now is actually really good. But how hard would it be for them to add the photo? Anyway, it's government, but
I'm sure it's.
I think the people that are doing that kind of thing are probably not clever enough to be able to, because it's a live link, isn't it? You didn't upload a photo; it's like take the photo from the link.
Oh, I see what you mean. To actually do
so
that.
when you,
okay.
when you log
right,
on,
I've not actually seen it. Right.
So I've just no longer done the MOT course, and he was showing us it.
Right. So when you register the MOT, there's a link to take a picture of the car. Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
got
That's
to show
quite
your,
secure.
Your bay. It's not just the car. It's got to have your bay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
X amount on the side of the car, so they could see it's your place and stuff. So I think there'll be people that crack it, but I think 90.
Well, it's going to stop the
99%.
low level stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is most of it.
So they lost their MOT bay, and then a garage that was a diesel specialist, we were taking our MOTs to them. So I mean, going through back and forward constantly with MOTs, and you could see the business just spiralling down. Like there was getting less and less to do, and
Is that because they lost the MOT base, using less
reputation went down,
Right,
went down
okay.
and stuff like that after that happened. So.
Did it make the news? Because you see it, don't you? When sometimes in the news, when
Probably.
I'm not,
let's not mention any names of
I'm
publications.
not sure. So the manager at the diesel specialist says, I was dropping an MOT off, and he says, "You want a job?" And I was like, "Aye, 100%, get me out of this sinking ship." And he says, "Well, didn't move, just stay where you are." They knew there's someone in the pipeline, so I was like, right, okay. And then it turned out that, a month later they had bought the place.
They'd acquired it. Yeah.
They had bought it. And then they kind of just left me there.
Did they manage to reopen the MOT bay?
They did, aye.
Must have been a new company then.
Yeah.
Guess so.
Aye, so
Yeah.
I think they basically bought the equipment.
Yeah, and the goodwill.
Shut the rest.
Yeah,
aye,
yeah.
and shut the rest down. So they got to open it back up. I'm trying to think if I couldn't have been doing MOTs at this point. No, so I was still doing repairs there, and then went through. I'm sure the place was dead. The place was quiet one day. So the foreman says, "Just come through here, come through to Cow and Beef, which is just along the road, and we'll find something for you today." So I was like, "Aye, sound, no bother." And I'm going through, and there was a transit van that wouldn't start. It was starting to cut out, and he says, "It's had a fuel pump, it's had injectors, it's had this, it's had that." Starts, cuts out, and it's going, "Did it come in like this?" He says, "No, it come in for a clutch." I just laughed. I says, "I can exactly what's wrong with it."
Yeah.
He was like, "What's wrong with it?" I says, "The reverse switch is plugged into the crank sensor, and the other way about." He says, "How do you ken that?" I says, "Because I done it as a homer one day." I says, "I done one as a homer and I absolutely shit myself." So I took the plugs off, swapped them round, fired up first time. He says, "That's fine, just bring your toolbox along, that'll do for us," kind of thing. So
If there's a lesson in experience, it's right there, isn't it?
that's it. Just at the side of the road, them one. It was a builder's van. I used to do all the work on this building company's vans as homers. And I had done it, and it started and cut out, and I was like, "Oh no!"
We've all been there, haven't we?
Aye, and actually it was at Martin's garage. I was doing it at night one night, and I'm sure Martin says you'll have the wiring the wrong way round on the gearbox. So if you run the wiring one way down the side of the
doesn't
left,
reach.
it could only go that way.
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you done it the other way, it could only go the other way. So
It's like every time you do a cam out, that tense moment when you go and crank the
Aye.
engine.
Oh, because
Somebody starts
all I
chatting.
used to do was engines, timing belts, timing chains, snap
Yeah.
belts. So every one of my jobs was that: turn the key, close your eyes, and hope
Aye,
for the best.
and hope it doesn't go.
I know I
dump.
had a few.
Aye,
Yeah, I had a few not go so well.
aye,
But,
same.
yeah.
So I ended up through at Patterson's full time, which was a diesel specialist, and the work there was great as far as what we were used to, because it was all.
So back then, a diesel specialist, were they doing general work on diesels, or was it all repair work?
They were, I mean, I can't remind us ever doing a service, other unless it was like the mum's car, or
Yeah.
it was all just
Injectors,
pumps, injectors,
yeah.
faults.
For other garages or
But I would say probably it was mostly trade.
yeah.
It was
It's
mostly
interesting,
trade.
isn't it? Because I feel like that's where if EV does become the majority,
Yeah.
that I feel like that's going to
Be a
reignite again.
Yeah,
You're going to have
aye.
the EV specialist.
Yeah. And Matt Cleveley's kind of got that tied up.
Well,
now, hasn't he?
Cleveland's interesting because he's the most of his work is service work. Whereas
Right.
if you look at, and he does do repair
Yeah.
work, but most of his work is service work. So he says.
On EV though.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I've got, and he's really open with it, and he's open with his data and stuff. But then if you look at what Kev's doing at Cedar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's not doing any service work. He is just doing,
Is that Kev Pierce?
he's just doing high voltage repairs.
Yeah.
battery swap, not battery swaps, like battery repairs, etc., which is like the modern version of what was then the diesel specialist.
What was the diesel specialist?
Because I think back to when we were rebuilding engines and stuff, and this is like the era of the K series and the Ecotech and all those sort of engines. If we did a job and it was a diesel and we did the head gasket and then it wouldn't start, get it to the diesel specialist because it's an injector issue or it's a pump issue or something. And I feel like that's going to make that. I don't know. It might be wrong, but I feel like that's going to come full circle.
For that, isn't there? Yeah, especially with like repairs required rather than replacing things.
So I feel like you probably gained some really good knowledge for your following years because that was right at the start of the diesel boom, wasn't it? I guess.
I mean, that was 2009, 2008, something like that.
So diesel was just really starting to become
Common rail was
was
really starting to fail at this point. Mondeos, transits, everything that run that Delphi fuel system just failing constantly.
I remember doing my first leak-off test with a non-start. I mean, it filled up. I was like, wow,
actually,
no, that's faulty.
that was the one thing I could do on a diesel. Was the leak-off test.
That was my main diag tool. Is the wee bottles.
Yeah,
walked about with them.
Yeah. Such so simple though, wasn't it? And it worked.
And yet a lot of people couldn't do it. It's just one of the things, if you knew it, you knew it.
And you still need to understand it, don't you, how the injector works and why that meant that. And
I had no idea. I just knew that one filled up, so replace that one.
Well, funny you say that, because I would say it was pretty similar where, like, in being there just as a normal tech, like, we got told what to do.
Yeah.
And, that's knackered.
Yeah.
But nobody tell you why or how it should operate. I mean, they had a full-blown pump shop, where, like, the test benches, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of stuff. And test benches, so they could take the pump off and the injectors off and rig them up, and it would run them up right through the rev range and stuff. That was a proper setup.
But you were almost following a plan as opposed to a fundamental on it.
We're talking about this with
like master techs from manufacturers or master techs from the independent world. It's like
two different breeds.
I can't remember who we were speaking to, but he was talking about some manufacturer. Was it you who mentioned that Volkswagen is quite a hard one to get? And BMWs are a hard one to get.
To get your master tech status is quite hard,
Whereas some of them are, you get the diag kit and you follow, if you can follow the
I remember being on the Vauxhall one at the end of some of the courses, like some people on the courses are just sent there because they've got to reach a standard. At the end, when they're filling in got to do a test at the end, literally the instructor's kind of like going, like basically giving the answers away.
It's not A or B.
Because he's tested on his pass rate. They need to pass, and it was literally just like a box ticking exercise.
That's when KPIs don't work. It's forcing wrong behaviour, isn't it?
I felt like it was the same in the Volkswagen one, to be fair. Like it was a bit an attendance course, right? You would have really struggled to fail it. You would have had to have done something pretty serious.
I think they're better now. This is quite a long time ago I was doing these, but I say a long time ago.
But then apparently even though it was in the same building, the Audi one, the pass rate was like 40%, and the Volkswagen one was like 95%.
Oh, really?
Aye. Apparently Audi were a lot stricter with it.
It's going to sound really naive, but are those systems extremely similar, or if not exactly the
diagnostic
same?
system?
Just the cars in general?
I would say Audi's like a different brand. If you took it away for, you split it apart, it's definitely a lot more difficult to work on. The diagnostic tool, although it's the same tool, the way the software runs is completely different.
Is it really?
It has got similarities, but there's a lot of stuff that Audi do in their own way.
So what about the other manufacturers in that same group, like Seat? Are that Skoda and Seat? Are they?
So the way that I don't know if you know John Morgan that runs the Otis training independently.
I know who he is. I've not actually met him.
So the way that he described it to me is when they brought Otis out, Audi bought all of it. That we'll take it all. That's the full package. And Volkswagen bought, we'll take that, but leave that out.
Yeah.
And then Skoda bought a wee bit more, and then Seat just decided it wasn't going to buy fuck all, basically. The entire tool's terrible on them.
So it's the same fundamental kit.
It's the same platform, but
different.
It's all works different ways.
So what's your favourite one to work on?
Volkswagen, I would say.
Is it? So it's a nice balance.
Yeah, simple. You get a lot of the functions and test plans, wiring diagrams. Everything seems simplified enough. Whereas Audi, you carry on a software update with an action code, and whereas Volkswagen just let you do it on their address code and do it through ECU or whatever.
The modern, it's probably not so much the modern. The modern ones across all of those makes. Although I know Seat's kind of changed. Are they literally using the same engine still across and the same platforms across all the makes?
Audi have got a few engines obviously of their own that don't share with a Volkswagen and stuff, but
Right.
majority of them is pretty much the same. Like,
Okay.
that's why it made sense. We'll obviously probably got that later, but why to go Volkswagen?
Yeah,
over, say,
this is.
Skoda?
I know. I think that it's definitely one of the key pillars to your success.
Yeah.
So we really need to get into the detail of that
Yeah.
when the timing's right. So back to your story then. Sorry, I
Aye, so
took you off track then. So yeah,
at Patterson's, they've done MOTs as well. We've done engine rebuilding, stuff like that. So I've done a lot of transit engines, a lot of Mondeo engines.
yeah. Those transits failed all the time, didn't they?
Constantly, yeah. I mean, we got to even
Still do.
the fuel
Yeah.
pumps and stuff. They're probably worse now. The fuel pumps and stuff, you could take them off in half an hour, it'd be
Yeah.
a 4-hour job, but we're just doing them constantly, absolutely all day, every day.
Those timing chain engines, weren't they? So it's
The
like
chain- big chain on
2008,
the front,
2009. Yeah.
They were a good job. I enjoyed them. And then they wanted to put me through my MOT course, but I hadn't passed my apprenticeship. I was only 19, so I had to go and sit some exam in Livingston. It was like 60 question exam.
Yeah.
Which the only reason I passed it is because I was still at the college. Like, if I sat it now, I'd fail it.
Yeah, you had it fresh in your mind.
It's all theory.
It was all like, what's petrol made up of, this much, this
Yeah.
much.
All the irrelevant stuff.
Like, there's
yeah.
nothing at all to do
Yeah.
with an MOT in it. So it sat that, and then they come in and did the assessment so that you could pass your practical on the MOT. Done class 4 and class 7 at the same time. And actually, when I went on the MOT course, they were like, "You shouldn't even be here. You're too young.
Yeah, you've not done 3 years.
You've not done 4.
Was it 4 years
at the time?
Yeah.
And I was only in my 3rd year of my apprenticeship. I was only 19. I wasn't even old enough to have done 4 years in the trade. So, but I done it. It was fine. I broke up some of the building engines all the time, and
I can remember how excited I was to do my first MOT.
aye,
I felt like, because I had my qualification and then I got my MOT license, and it's like, you know, like a 22, 23-year-old, and you're being trusted to MOT. It was such
Did you wear it in your lanyard around your neck?
It was just can you remember getting yours?
Yeah.
It's such a great feeling at the time. It lasts for about 10 MOTs.
it does. Aye,
And then you're sick
especially
of it.
when it's 10 in the same day.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I loved it. It was like, it's just one of the highlights of my technical career was getting my MOT license. Sounds
I used to
stupid
love
to
a
look back
third
on.
annual service in MOT, like just MOT change oil filter.
off
on
it
the same ramp.
Of course
No.
Not at all.
No.
We do that.
On the Ramp is very proudly sponsored by Castrol and the race group from Certus Energy. Our own business, Lindley's Auto Centres, has been using Castrol products via the race group for at least 10 years. We get our own account manager. They help us set up the oil portfolios across the branches. And there's also someone to ring if we've got any technical queries or general queries. And having that relationship with the account manager, I think, is really important. We get dual branded workwear. So just like what I'm wearing now, we get this free for all members of staff. We get to use the Castrol brand across our entire business. So things like building signage, websites, general marketing, etc. And working with a globally recognized brand like Castrol, I believe, can really elevate your own brand. There's a rewards platform. So for every purchase, we accumulate points that we can redeem against certain items on this reward platform, which is pretty cool. And then there's an integration via our garage management software that allows us to actually see the exact oil product code that should be used in that vehicle, which in today's world and the complexities of oil is actually really helpful. So if you want to learn more about how Castrol can help elevate your business and you want to learn more about how the race group can help you, then please click on the link in the description below. Thank you.
But aye, so I remember passing my college, come out with my papers. That was me passed, like my 4 years. And I went up to the office and says, right, look, I'm qualified now. Can we speak about a pay rise? And he says to me, it's just about a paper.
So one of them guys.
I was on £6 an hour at the time.
Six?
As a
Can't believe he's asking for a pay rise.
I know.
Disgraceful, mate.
Just got his ticket, and here he is.
yeah.
Up.
Here he is,
literally-
Billy
literally
Big Balls.
same day, aye.
Thinks he can run the place.
But I had a good technical ability in the workshop. I could do most jobs that they would book in. And I know there was guys on there that were quite well paid as well in that workshop. So
I always had this argument of that experience versus capability.
who should you pay more?
Yeah.
Yeah, you was on a whopping 12 and a half grand a year, mate.
Aye,
Should have just been content with that, shouldn't you?
that's it. And I mind they gone into the office, and they were like, right, okay, we can give you £7. So now I'm qualified, and I'm still a class 4 and 7 MOT tester. And I was like, well, I can assure you it'll not last long, like, at that money, when there's guys in the office, in the workshop on double that even back then.
Yeah.
And who were no great,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
So I got to the bottom of the stairs and the phone rang. I picked up the phone and he was like, right, come back up the stairs. So I went back up the stairs and he was like, right, the business can stretch to £7.50. I was like, aye, sure, nice, no worries. And then one of the guys that I did MOTs for through that garage, still really good mates from him now, do a lot of work for him now as well. He's got his own place. He put my name forward to the manager at Volkswagen, and so I went there. I think it started on like £10, which gone for £7.50 seemed amazing.
How did it feel to go into that dealer world when you'd been independent the whole way through?
I remember standing at the back door and I expected to walk into this ginormous dealership. I mean, I'd never been in this place before in my life. And I got to the back door and it was just 4 bays, like just a wee small 4-bay workshop, small showroom.
So it was quite a small dealership.
I didn't think it was classed as a full dealership. It was an authorised repairer.
And this is on your first day. You didn't even go and look at it before.
So this was when I went for the interview.
Oh, okay, right.
I was saying on an interview, I just went and work clothes and stuff. He was like, just pop along. You've pretty much got the job anyway, so just come along and speak to me. I remember thinking, it's nothing like what I expected for a dealership, like the picture you paint in your mind.
A lot of them are like that, aren't they? The old kind of.
I'd seen much bigger, better looking independents, but in fairness, working there was phenomenal. Like Hall Beef, when we worked at Hall Beef Volkswagen, it was like the wee dream team.
Was it?
We had.
You got fun memories of the.
Aye, we had a phenomenal team there.
What was the manager like?
Brilliant.
Was he?
Aye, he was. Aye, a big party. I mean, he was my manager right up until I left, essentially. He was. I would say he was like a close mate as well by that point. Just through working there. And the team there was great. I mean, I think when they run the figures for the John Clark Group, the Hall Beef branch was the smallest branch that they had, but had the highest profit percentage.
Really?
Aye. Just because we were so small, we just knocked through the jobs.
What would you say was the biggest difference to you walking into that place from coming from sort of an independent world?
£2.50.
That's a big difference.
It is a big difference as a percentage, yeah.
No, going into a much cleaner and tidier environment, where you had the opportunity to train and progress.
And was there more processes and things like that, and clocking on and off jobs? And that
Yeah,
sort of
we were doing
stuff?
health checks and
Yeah,
stuff.
we were doing health checks. It was Pinnacle they used,
Yeah.
which I think's actually an alright system.
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. I think they just brought that in, and they just brought videos in when I'd started.
Yeah.
The processes were all there, but you didn't really need to think about them too much. The manager was, because it was such a small site, he was
On
there
it.
anyway. He was just like, right, stick that one out, bring that one in. He was on it. You never got a chance to stop for a minute. Know that he was a slave driver or that, but
had he built
took care of the processes.
a good culture where you say he didn't let you stop for a minute, but was the culture as such you just crack on
You
with
just
it?
knocked on. You just grafted for him, and I would say the culture there was brilliant.
But do you think that you would be where you are today if you hadn't have worked in that environment with a good manager?
I think I always had in the back of my mind that I would go to a dealership.
Yeah.
But you had that main stealer,
Yeah.
they've got the whip out, they want 9 hours a day out you. I could never have worked in that environment. Even though I probably sold more than 9 hours a day when I went there, without even having to think about it or realise it, because the culture there was great, the manager was good with us, and he shuffled, he took care of everything, you just got on that ramp and just went for it. Years and years later, when I went up to be foreman and workshop controller and stuff, I then started to understand a lot more of his ethos when he was like, technicians should be not moving for their ramps for productivity and stuff like that.
This is the same place you became a controller foreman.
Aye, so I started doing workshop control and foreman.
Was he still there at the time that you moved into that role?
Yeah, aye, so it was him that put me there, aye.
Was it?
Yep. He just took more of a back seat and just let me hand the jobs out and kind of be a middleman between him and front of house and stuff like that. So I was getting a bit of experience. I think they'd offered it to the master tech that was there at the time. He didn't want to do it. So then I kind of went, well, if he offered it to me, and I thought, I've nothing to lose, really. I was only 20. Well, I think it was before I went to Australia or when I come back. When I come back, so it was probably 22. So I went there, passed my service tech, just gone down to Milton Keynes in the space of about 9 months or something like that, and then moved to Australia. So
Were you flying down there?
aye.
I was going to say, that's a good old trek for you, isn't it?
Aye, we were up in, when it come to Diagnostic Tech, Master Tech, I was there all the time.
Was you?
Constantly, aye.
So they invested. I think this is one of the things like the dealerships. Well, it's funny because I read a lot of comments on TikTok, and there's a lot of people in dealerships who say they don't get any training, but the ones I've spoke to have had a really good training background. A lot of them have come from dealerships.
I think it's purely site and manager dependent. Like, I know that the same place now, they barely get any training. It's because it's controlled by someone in another department.
Is that guy is the manager moved on, or is he still
He's
there?
moved on,
Has
aye.
he?
Yeah, but he's not
I
there.
think it's a dealer standards, isn't it? So once that box is ticked,
Then
we
they
have
need
that
to-
with the foresight. So if you've got 10 tech, for example, and you only 4 of them qualified, then only 4 will get qualified. I
Because
don't
of
think
cost.
they're going above and beyond to kind of train all of them or anything like that. So I think that probably stigma of that training thing, it's only because that standard's there that they've got to hit, isn't
Aye.
it? Rather than doing it off of their own kind of back or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's got to help staff retention. Or like you said, it's
mean,
like you've mentioned, it was one of the good things about being there was the training, wasn't it?
You could, I mean, later in the years I got offered a lot more money elsewhere
Yeah.
by people contacting me then by this point, and I didn't move.
You were just dedicated.
I was dedicated to them. I liked the brand. I had a good manager. The training was probably my biggest reason for staying. Like,
Well, it goes to show, doesn't it? What you're saying there is, training, good management,
Yeah.
even if you're offering more money.
and it was like £5 an hour more. I was
Really?
offered
Wow.
elsewhere.
That's a big...
What's
And-
that phrase
didn't
where it's
move.
like train them up to something and
Train them
treat
up
them
so
well
they
enough
can
to stay
leave.
or something?
Richard
like
Branson,
that.
isn't it? It's like train them well enough that they could
Leave
leave
and-
but look after them so they don't.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we've probably butchered that quote.
It's our quote now.
It's our quote now.
Our quote,
yeah.
Aye. But I think that had a massive part to play in it. The culture of the place and the management, the team around you, meant I didn't leave.
Is training big for you now at your place?
Aye, like
Yeah.
we're always. John's gone through he's just done his Diag Tech with Bosch because you got it through LKQ.
Mm-hmm.
But the Master Tech don't run in Scotland. Typical. Scotland gets shit on again.
Yeah.
So
You're so used to jumping on planes and driving for 6 hours, though. It's fine.
that's it. We're just used to it. Eh?
Yeah, don't
Gets
worry
away from the
about it.
rain as
Drive
well.
6 hours to record a podcast. It's
Aye.
what's another 2 hours on top of 6? It's
That's
fine.
it,
Isn't it?
aye. So John's
You
gone
want you in the
through
car.
he's gone through his Master Tech at Tech Topics and
Oh wow, that is a long way.
aye. So
Yeah.
again, it's just a flight. So
Yeah,
it's,
just a flight.
aye.
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
Wee
It's just a
flight.
flight. When you've got to drive it, no, I wouldn't do that. But I know we continuously want to keep everybody trained up.
How's he getting on at Tech Topics?
Good eye.
Enjoying
really
it?
good eye. He's loving it.
And what's he doing? Is just straight up Master Tech.
Straight into Master Tech because he'd already passed his Diag Tech. So
Okay.
I think
Is he dealer trained, or has he always been independent?
so. He was at Volkswagen as well.
Okay.
And then he left to go to the college where we send our apprentices to, or were up until very recently. And then I think it never worked out. I don't know if he'd done a year or a couple of years at the college training apprentices. We then, I can't remember if I contacted him or he contacted me, but he was looking for a move again. And I know the boss at Volkswagen was trying to get him back in as well. But I mean, he didn't have the best experience there, I would say. Like lack of training and
Yeah.
promised a lot of Diag, but there was 2 Diag techs in front of him in their training and stuff. So you were getting bits and bobs, whatever, filtered through. So I met up with him Starbucks, got him in, and he's excelling at it, like guy. So
Did you ever do your non-franchise Master Tech?
no, I did a couple of courses at Bosch when I was an apprentice.
How much different would you say? How much would you say the one that he's doing is harder than the one you would do at the dealership?
I would say so. The problem with this is, like, I had this discussion at Milton Keynes with the trainers and also with the management at Volkswagen. Is it's all you want to do is get us to the end of a test plan for warranty.
Yeah.
They're not interested in if that takes you 5 wrong parts like 10 hours and it might still not be right. Like that doesn't come into it. It's all just about getting somebody to the end of a process. Fast forward on when I'd done my Master Tech and everything, it just became so frustrating. It's like you're not allowed to think for yourself.
So have you had to because you're you're quite a proficient diagnostic technician, aren't you? Have you had to teach yourself that to that standard, or have you just used various courses and sort of plotted it all together?
So what happened there was I think I'd passed my Master Tech at this point, and then my manager at Volkswagen says, "Have you seen this guy on Facebook? I'm Steve Scott."
Oh, really?
I says, "Oh no," I says, "I've not seen that before," and I started looking into it, and my mind was blown.
Was it?
Oh, I was like, honestly, a kid with a new bike.
Just a moment. I've spoken about it a few times, but it comes up in stories. I love those little moments in time where you never know it's going to happen, and it happened to you that day, where you're exposed to a game changer.
Aye.
Whether it's a piece of knowledge, or in your case, it was a community, a platform, whatever.
Yeah.
And it sends you on a completely different trajectory, doesn't it?
I mean, where I thought I was quite good at diagnosing motors in the dealership, but a lot of it was repetitive faults and TPI for it and stuff like that. So you weren't having to think too hard.
Yeah, sometimes you're not as good as you think you are you? Because
No,
you're fixing all these cars.
Not a chance.
I mean, even at the dealership, like we would get the cars sent to us if the rest of the group was struggling, or if another branch was struggling and stuff like that. So I think it just came down to more determination than anything else.
Yeah.
Like I would fix that car because I would spend 40 hours to make sure that
Let your brains out on it, but it's fixed.
And then when I seen Steve Scott's stuff and other guys that were commenting when it was a Facebook page at that point, like a paid one.
Yeah.
So I paid into that, and I seen all these guys putting like pressure pulse analysis up my oscilloscopes, and I was just like, I think I'm terrible at fixing cars now, because you just seen what they were capable of.
Well, you start to see what you don't know.
Oh,
you're exposed to actually.
It was like alien, like, it was like Hogwarts.
So is this whilst you was foreman or tech?
Aye,
right?
Aye. So I was Master Tech at that point and workshop foreman.
So you're still productive.
Aye, I'd say probably at that stage probably 50%.
Right,
Like,
and there's how many technicians there?
There was 7 or 8 years.
Oh, okay, right.
So it grew in the time that you were there then?
So that's what I got put to the other branch in Fife.
Right.
By that point.
So you lost your manager then?
No, same manager. So he took both roles.
Oh,
He
okay,
took on both sides.
So that's why he put you up and then he stepped back. Okay, fair
So
play.
Brian, it was coming after me. He went up through the ranks.
Yep.
Done his Master Tech as well. So they had 2 Master Techs at the same site.
Yeah.
And none at the other site.
Yeah, made sense.
So it was like, and the other site done commercial as well, whereas Dunfermline only done passenger car.
Yeah.
So he says, right, go down. Like, he bought me my own Otis brand new laptop and everything like that, and he says, right, just take that home with you and I'll phone you and tell you where to go in the morning. So it'd be maybe a day at Dunfermline and 3 days at Kirkcaldy, and it got to the point it was just like, just send my box to Kirkcaldy because I'm here constantly. Brian, the manager knew what he was doing. Brian was well capable, and Kirkcaldy was struggling on the Diag aspect. So he was like, I'll make him think it's his choice and just push him into there and keep him there.
Good management.
It was,
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked it down there because the diagnostic jobs were tenfold because you had commercial in the mix. You had transporters and crafters, Amaroks and stuff. So I did enjoy it there. And I'm trying to think where it led on for there. So from Steve Scott stuff, became absolutely obsessed with oscilloscopes.
Just in case the listener doesn't know, this is SimplyDiag. SimplyDiag.net, is it?
Yeah.
His website, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a Facebook portal at the time. It moved on to SimplyDiag.net, the portal. And I had all the free time. I was like 50% productive. If I wasn't doing a Diag job, I was either booking somebody's training, looking at job cards for the next day, or clocking out and maybe giving somebody a hand.
Yeah.
So in all these, I've got this Volkswagen Golf and struggling to fix it. I had unlimited resource at my fingertips, with all the wiring diagrams, technical bulletins, and so I would jump on and give them a hand. And so, all right, check this wire in here. I've had this. And
So this is you helping back in the community.
Aye.
Yeah.
And then Steve had offered me to be one of the technical experts from the group.
Yeah.
which then meant you didn't pay that, it paid you then. So it's like, I'll take that. Cause I was doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It was good. You got free membership and a bit of money every month. So it just grew from there. Like getting it. Obviously, your name was out there. Garage Hive was always spoke about. DPF Doctor, Avon Tuning. You had Stevie P on there, Stevie Patterson.
Yeah. Big up Stevie P.
Aye, yeah. So it put me in a connection with all these people, and that's probably when I got the first thing. Like, I need a garage. To the point I actually tried to get Volkswagen on DPF Doctor, and it didn't work out. Like, Darren wasn't comfortable with having a dealer on it.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. And
Yeah,
I
it is,
totally
yeah.
see his point. Yeah. But just getting to connect to all these different people, and I obviously met Barry Lawson, Scott Boyd, and stuff like that. I think that I ended up organising a book order for America for Scanner Dana. And
I think I saw this on Facebook. This is a good few years ago.
it was like 100 books or something. We ended up ordering £100 a book, and organising, getting everybody's money in, sent all on. And then that kind of got my name out there a bit more as well. Not that was my intention on it.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
I had plenty of free time.
Yeah.
It just kind of blew up for there, like getting a network then with these type of people.
And that's why you're still at the dealership.
As well, still
Yeah,
a dealer, and I was like, nah, that like, I kind of thought at that point I need to be either my own garage or in an independent.
So did the thought of you going alone creep in because of that, or was that always a dream from day one?
It was not a dream for day one.
Not even close to it.
No, I mean when I was really young, I said, I think my own garage one day when I was like first year apprentice.
Yeah.
Shows power community, like we said before, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, power community
Aye.
now and starting now, and
It's like fundamentally the number one thing for me is the people that I know through the trade now. In everything that we do.
and the learnings that you take from that.
All the time. Yeah.
So that was definitely at the point where I thought I could do this on my own, because I could see as well the faults I was helping other people with. I was like, I could easily fix
So
it.
what, this must have been 2018, 2019, maybe.
Passed my Master Tech 2016. So this was probably about 17, 18, something like
Yeah.
that. I thought I could hear a bit of that, and I went to take a garage on, and the guy that owned the place, the original guy was moving, and the guy that owned the place just tried to pull the wool over my eyes. Like, I knew what the rent was meant to be, and I knew what this was meant to be, and
It didn't feel right.
no, because it was, oh no, well you need to pay an extra $5,000 if you want that, and
Yeah.
so I just pulled the plug on it, and I was like, right, that's it, I'm not going to go myself. Got a good job at Volkswagen, everything's gusty. And then COVID hit, and that gave me then the time to.
So this was around about the time then you've got a young family as well in the mix.
Yep. So just Bonnie would be, so she'll be 6 in August. So we had just moved house because Linda was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So we just took on double the size of the mortgage what we had already. We had Bonnie, who was not even a year old, and then so COVID hit, we went on furlough, and then we went back, and it was like the place it's not what you left, like dramatic change
At the dealership.
at the dealer. And that was at the point where I need it now, because it had massively changed the whole operation side of it. And
So during the whole lockdown process then, I'm guessing were you furloughed?
I was furloughed down.
So is your mind in overdrive about creating a plan to...
To start with, what I done was I went down to the dealer. By this point, I'd bought myself an oscilloscope, and I'd bought myself all this and multimeters and test lights and everything like that. So to start with, was like I had a few cars that I could fix while I was bored in my driveway.
Yeah.
So I started playing a bit with that, and then I just thought I could sit and write a business plan, or I could give it a go. And
Can't do both, possibly.
I started phoning about, so I spoke to Steve Scott, Darren Darlin, Scott Boyd, Barry Lawson, Stevie P, and just number one thing: what did you do wrong in business? If I'm going to start a business, what do I know? What do you regret?
Great people to have in your book of contacts to go and ask them questions to.
At that time as well, for you to have the foresight to do that,
No.
I don't know what
rather
that's
than
worth.
rather than
that
kind of going
that was my
all,
biggest.
rather than just kind of going all blazing, you've put some proper kind of thought into that,
Yeah.
and
Well,
even pulling back from that deal you said that wasn't right. A lot of people, well, I would be like so excited by it. I'm like, yeah, just do it no matter
Make a
what. I'd have
mistake.
been in there, and
Aye.
so to have that
I mean, it was-
foresight that it wasn't quite right and pull back and
With the one that fell through, it was like there was a difference between like £200 a month rent. It was the fact I knew right for the get go it was meant to be 1,100 a month, and he was wanting 1,350 or something like that. And that's what had kind of been agreed on between me and the current tenant. And then for him to jack it up,
So it was more about the trust than it was the
it was about,
money.
if he can do it now, he's going to do it again in a year's time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
When I'm right into it.
So what top tips did you get then from those 5 of what not to do?
Didn't undercharge, didn't undersell yourself, didn't let people away without paying.
I think undercharging is the biggest thing, isn't it?
Aye.
Naturally, you think I'll start and be cheap and get people through the door, and but,
That was a discussion I had with one of the tool guys. He come into Volkswagen and says, if you've got yourself a wee workshop. So I went and found one of the guys I actually worked with, his mate at the garage, then COVID kind of finished him off. So I went and viewed it, says I'll take it. So by this point I'm like, I've got a premises and I'm still at the dealer.
I'm assuming they had no idea.
No, I'd been quite transparent with the manager at least. I says, look, I'm going to be
The one you had a good relationship
yeah.
with.
I says I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be starting myself.
Was that quite hard to do with him?
Aye,
It was.
it was, but I think he kind of expected it for the first. Because I spoke to him the first time round when it all fell through. I says I'm going to be going myself.
Right.
Like I've got a unit, and I mean this was like a year before probably. And he says it was always in the back of my mind anyway.
Yeah.
You dipped your toe in once. It wouldn't be the end of it, as much as I never spoke about it for a year.
Yeah.
did you tell him that he was going to be a specialist?
Aye.
Volkswagen.
Aye, I told him.
Did
I'd
he
be on the
try?
sign as
Did he
well.
try and keep you, or did he just know?
He said to me, "It's pointless me asking you what you want
Yeah.
because you're doing it
Yeah.
for to start a business. It's not like you're going up to the garage up the road." He says we could ask you to name a figure to stay, but you're not going to stay anyway. I says
Yeah.
no, you're not. I says I'm not. So
You know, I
didn't even
think
go down that route.
you mentioned you had a really good relationship with him. I think a part of him probably knows that it's the right thing for you to do as well.
Aye, yeah, yeah.
And it's like when we've had some staff leave, and we've had a couple of staff leave to set up on their own, and you know, it's like it's the right thing.
I remember
Yeah.
I had the same thing. Like my manager was very supportive, and he was a great influential person on me. And I remember having to tell the boss though, I had to go in his office and tell him I kind of neglected the bit that was going to be a Vauxhall specialist. That came
Yeah.
out afterwards. But
No, so I actually, when I put a big post up on Facebook when my notice was in by this point, and I put a post up on Facebook saying I'm going to be starting myself, Volkswagen, LDC and Skoda, Master Tech, so just try to drum a bit of work and try to get a bit, I mean I was still painting the place and getting signs made and
You were doing all this at night and weekend, and then
Aye,
dealership
yeah.
in the day.
and
Yeah.
you just funded this through savings that you'd and things like
so I had a wee caddy van that I bought, and I had a couple of motorbikes and a home gym, and they all got sold. Essentially, I sold everything.
So you weren't sitting on a big pile of reserves to get
No,
going.
I think I don't know, maybe had £5,000 in savings or something for
Yeah.
the years. Probably for bits and bobs. That, was
But
left there
that
for the
doesn't go
house.
far, does it?
No.
When you're in the business.
So sold the motorbike, sold the caddy, sold my gym, and then gave me enough money to start painting the place and ordering signs. And
How was
everything like
Linda
that.
for all this? Because
She's fine.
you've got a family, a mortgage,
Yeah.
kids.
Big mortgage, young family at that point. Like I say, we'd just moved house.
That's a risk that most wouldn't take.
Aye, she was supportive. Like she
Was
was.
she?
She's. I would probably say she's always believed in what. If I said I was going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
and
for
at this point, did you have any idea, like a goal that I want to be earning X amount a year, or was it just kind of go into it and see what happens?
No, at this point, all I wanted to be was just an independent garage owner.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't have mattered.
Would you say you were quite inspired by the people that you'd met then? You want to be part of...
on the network?
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was my main driving force.
Have you spoke to them about it? Do they know that?
Aye,
They do.
I would say so. Aye, and we've had plenty of drunken discussions. But no, aye, definitely. I mean, the people that I got to meet through SimplyDiag network and sort of become quite like I ended up doing John Morgan's course as like an assistant.
Yeah.
With Barry Lawson, Chris Gordon, Scott Boyd. It was at Scott Boyd's place. Stevie P, and who else was there? Oh, his name's left me. It's terrible. What, Craig?
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
So done the course through there, and that's where I got a wee bit closer to them, and we created the wee WhatsApp group and stuff. So it was like
Still going, isn't it? What's
still
that
going.
group? Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's gold for it was gold for being like, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Even away back then, because I was still at Volkswagen at the time, and I done that training with John Morgan.
So presumably at the point that you set this business up, then you had probably a pretty decent salary. So you were leaving like a lot of security, decent income.
I think my last P60 at Volkswagen was like 40 grand, and that would included my overtime.
Yeah.
So it was like 34 basic and some guaranteed bonuses and stuff like that.
It's a good chunk to have to replace, though. You've got overheads.
Yeah.
And you've got wage. You need that money coming in to support the household,
And your
don't you?
holidays and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
So it was actually I was still at Volkswagen as well, and I wanted to get into remapping. The remapping was something I'd never been into. I'd never even had one of my own cars remapped in my life. I just thought, well, again, remapping, bit quick money, and I'll try do it right as I can do it, like without a premises and stuff like that. And I was just doing some Saturday remaps and got like.
I'm assuming you'd found someone in the community to bounce off about remapping.
I same again. I was like, what can a remap? Everybody was like, go Avon tuning, go Avon. Like,
Right.
It was just
So that's how you
constant.
met the Avon boys.
Aye, and Avon was through SimplyDiag and that as well.
Yeah.
So I contacted Gareth, and I was like, look, I'm not a business or anything like that. I just wanted to start building something.
See, I've never dealt with them directly, but I hear a lot of good stuff about
Gareth's
those
brilliant.
guys. Yeah.
Aye, the full team in there are excellent, but Gareth was like really supportive, and
Yeah.
and the technical team there, like if you had a problem during a map, especially with me, who like never done one before, and all of a sudden I'm mapping cars on my driveway, and
yeah, definitely one of the ones that sort of took off, aren't they? Avon.
Yeah.
Of all of them, yeah.
It's really good reputation, though.
the
Just doing
tech
it right.
support is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You phone them and be like, this isn't quite running right, that's fine, let me jump on it,
Yeah.
and more so now that you understand it a lot more as to what they're actually doing in the background, and like if you've worked with any other tuners, and plenty of people have that are on the network, they then tell you like how different an experience it is.
Yeah.
And working with them. So in that process I was doing some remaps and stuff, and went back to Volkswagen after COVID, and it was all like, why did you clock in at 9 o'clock a day? No for my manager, for his manager. Why did you clock in at 9? I says, I didn't clock in until I'm on a job. And that's the way that we've had this running for years.
This because you're foreman at this, foreman like workshop control or whatever.
Workshop control or a foreman, and if there wasn't a Diag job there, I'd be helping something like moving a car about, road testing another car somebody had done or something like that. They wouldn't have just got to throw me on a service or anything like that. So I went back a day early and updated all the laptops and made sure everybody's machines were plugged in, ramps all worked and stuff like that. And I got questioned about that as well. What are you doing here? I was like, I'm here because the manager asked me to be here.
Yeah.
And it became very quickly like about head office is looking at numbers now, and obviously I understand they've lost so much money through being closed for that period of time in COVID.
But it's like they're compounding the problem. When you start losing people like you, that's when a business spirals, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it was 2 or 3 things over the next week. Why did you clock out like 3:30? And I was like, to start with, I says, I don't know. Like I was fed up here. I think I had heard it 3 times by this point. I says, I don't know. I says, can go away, leave me alone, kind of thing. And then I remembered there was a sales card that had been misfueled. So I says, actually, it was this card here that you've no admin team in to give me a job card. So that's where I clocked it, because I've been fixing this wee black Polo. I says, and it's been misfueled, so I'm trying to get it out for your sales team. But also, it's been invoiced, it's been prepped, and there's needing 4 tyres and brakes, and it's been invoiced, but it's never been done. And I mind the manager saying to me at that point, because we went in the body shop, and I says, look, this isn't happening. If I'm going to be getting
quizzed and
scrutinised like that, I said, I'll not be here. It'd be as simple as that. I'm not standing for it. And he basically says, I'll not use name groups, but he says he basically left one motor group and come in, and it's another one where they both have got Clark in their name. And I was like, well, that's not a company I'll work for. I can assure you that. I says, so my notice will be in soon. And I did, and that was, so moved on.
So this, when you having this was happening, is this when you had your garage lined up anyway, the premises and things?
No, at that point.
Right,
No.
okay.
That was like the final straw.
Right, I see.
I think for that day, in fact, that's when I went out like messaging folk, putting things up on Facebook, like being like, I need to find a workshop. I need to
Right,
get off
okay.
the ground now.
So you find a workshop then, hand your notice in.
Mark.
You put a post on Facebook saying Massive Tech and
Yeah. So my business plan was, let's open a Volkswagen specialist as close to Volkswagen as possible, because they kind of take work
Smart,
off you in their 2 or 3 times your hourly
Good
rate.
plan.
And this was the way this worked out. Like the one that I ended up taking was a wee small workshop, but it was like 3 miles for the Volkswagen dealer that I just left.
Good place to get staff
You
and
know
customer
the,
shop, isn't it?
Aye.
the one we'd bought in Solihull. So that all started off from a franchise car called iAuto.
Yeah.
And their model was they pinned out all locations across the country and they looked at other dealer groups and they picked independent locations based on like where the dealer groups were in the
Yeah.
areas and things like that. And it's,
Aye, it was. I mean, it was definitely my game plan to get someone as close to the dealer as possible. I mean, if I could have been in their yard, I would have done it. Because I knew I would get the work. And so when I put the post up on Facebook, when I finally got the workshop, I put the post up on Facebook to try to generate a bit of interest and stuff like that. Made a
whilst
wee-
you're on notice still.
made a wee business. Made a wee business page up and stuff. And the DP basically pulled me in and says, take that post down, even though he knew my notice was in. Take that post down and work your notice, or finish the day.
See ya.
I should have. I never.
All right.
I took it down.
Why?
I was still needing the extra month's pay and everything by that point. I was
Right,
like,
so that was planned in.
Aye. That was in the plan. Like that'll pay my bills and maybe buy me a second hand compressor or something like that.
I remember that when I was leaving, and I was one of the first where your holidays were accrued as you went along, whereas everybody else earned them a year before. And I was sort of thinking they might have forgot about this, and I was taking holidays off. And then my last paycheck came, and I got
Nothing.
like 2 weeks worth of holiday pay, and I was like,
Used them all.
yeah.
So that's when they went opened it just straight after COVID and took it for there.
So when you just talk me through that first day, you're in, shutters are open, phone's not ringing, phone might be ringing, you got ramps,
Aye.
no cars.
So
How did it look? Because I remember when Sean Miller was here and he was telling us he got there day one, opened the doors,
what have
spent
I
all
done?
this money. He was like, what have I done?
So I was quite fortunate. I'd filled pretty much the first week. The business was opened based on diagnostic work.
Did you start on your own?
On
Just
my own,
you?
Just me. Aye.
Just you?
Yeah.
And this is in 2020 or
2020.
2020,
aye.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'd just put in posts out constantly in garages that I knew around the area and stuff. Like, if you need anything done, give us a shout. And so I think I had maybe like the first 4 days, like 3 or 4 cars in a day. It was all diagnostic work, but that was fine because that's
what you wanted to
That's
be
what I
doing.
was wanted, and that's what I was good at. So I mind the day one I had 3 cars at the same time, like one inside and 2 like V'd into the workshop. Just jumped between them with the scope and the multimeter and that, and being like, right, I came out the 3 of them need now. Let's phone the customer, order the parts and stuff. That was
So
it.
you were doing the repairs and the diag?
Aye.
You were just doing the...
Aye.
full
So
thing.
I would
Yeah.
I would do the repairs and stuff as well.
How did you... Because it's not just fixing cars. Limited company, VAT, accounts, finance, bank accounts.
Yeah.
When did all that happen?
I didn't have a clue at the beginning, like not a clue.
Because if you don't manage your cash flow, you can be caught out, especially when you're not going
Yeah.
in with a big...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any money at the beginning, and also found it within the year didn't have a great accountant either. Just leave me to do whatever the hell I wanted, essentially, when they sort of hand-holding. But I think I picked up quite quick to be like...
Were you very conscious of it?
I was definitely conscious of it. Like, for day one, I started with a digital invoicing system.
Yeah.
It was one of the basic ones, but you could put part numbers in it.
Yeah, so you had some recall.
You could look up history, and
Yeah.
it was quick, and I used that until 2022 until I started my garage hive.
Yeah.
It done what I need today. I was at that stage. I was still at give somebody a professional invoice, what the parts on it, and it wasn't going to be a wee handwriting job.
Had you already built your brand, done your website, all these things happening in parallel?
Aye, they're all happening at the same time.
Because just being in there fixing a car is like the last stage of opening a business, isn't it? There's so much stuff to do around that.
Yeah.
And were you just doing like evenings? You were building your brand, like social media, and
Yeah, so constantly Facebook posts, like and especially in the early days, like 2 or 3 a day.
Just on your own
Yeah.
Facebook?
Yeah. And on the business one I'd made.
So when did you come up with the name?
I think it's the name I come up with for doing the remat on the Saturdays before I ever opened.
Right, okay. So you just rolled that name into the garage.
Yeah, because I was doing the remat and I was getting a wee bit of traction on that. I didn't want to change the garage name.
Yeah. So you
Or
don't
I
start to
probably would have, to
Okay.
be honest with you.
Why?
I probably would have, if I knew how it was going to plan out, I would have made it with someone that had VAG or Volkswagen or VAG, something in the name that made us stand out a wee bit further.
Yeah, made it more obvious what you were doing.
Yeah. Whereas
Well, a rebrand's not off the cards, is it?
no, but I'd already rebranded logo wise and everything after it. After I absolutely rinsed on an Andy Savacor. So I changed the logo and did the same as what you do again, ordered 5,000 service books, 5,000
Yeah,
business
just to
cards.
redo it all, yeah.
All the signs getting changed, all the car livery getting changed. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
No yet. So I can't mind where we were at.
Yeah, so you were in fixing cars, and I asked about all of the other business processes and elements around it, because you can run a workshop, you can fix a car. That's not the same as running a business. You got some good people around you advising you. You know what mistakes they made. But just fixing the car, like I said, is just one part of running the business, isn't it? And it's like, I think the difference between having a unit, fixing some cars and taking some money at the end of the day, to the business you've built within 36 months of that point, it's like you must have been busy doing the job, but even busier doing the business bit. Because you don't make that progress without real, intentional, positive change.
Yeah. I mean, I was constantly looking, constantly researching, asking questions. How do you grow a business? How do you build a website? And I realised that you didn't build your own website, somebody builds it for you. And so I was constantly researching as to what, and looking a bit as well and see what, like, look at some of the big garages. What are they doing? Mm-hmm. Like, how are they operating? Oh, their website's immaculate. If you look at the handout, your folder after you pick the invoice up, look what they're doing. And I just started copying. Essentially, just
So were you
copying everybody.
You're obviously still fixing cars in a very specialist way. You're doing your Diag, but are you almost obsessing over business at this point?
Completely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At that point, when I opened up, failing wasn't an option. That was not an option. It was going to be, I'll do whatever I need to do to make this work.
Yeah.
And I did believe that there was a big need for a Volkswagen Audi specialist in that area anyway. I just needed money to be able to do it, as like I needed to grow a pot, and then eventually get into a workshop that I would.
Was specialist
be happy.
always from day one, never a question you were specialising?
No, really not. So, I mean, again, speaking to the same network of people I just mentioned, saying like, I want to be a Volkswagen Audi specialist, but what if there's no cars? What if they get the jobs? What if I've no money? Can I pay the bill?
I guess you instantly think you're limiting your market there, aren't you? Is one.
What if my daughter starves? Like, she's only 9 months.
Just because you don't want to fix a Ford.
Yeah.
She's only 9 months, and I didn't think Linda was producing milk still at that point, so she probably could have starved.
So I'm guessing you're doing family and friends, and they're not necessarily all in Volkswagens and Audis, are they?
But I managed to keep it. I did manage to keep it quite straight with the Volkswagen Audi. Other than I done all brand DPF work and all brand tuning, so the remapping stuff was all brand. The DPF stuff was all brand, which I've stopped as well now, and it's Volkswagen Group only for them as well. But I mind when I was doing the business plan, this was when the automotive support group, I don't know if that still goes, but it was like James.
James Massey, etc. They were that was the like COVID support
thing,
group, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, putting a comment on there, and Andy Saba says, "Give me a phone." So spoke to him, and he was like, "Right, grab a notepad, and we'll quickly crunch numbers to be able to get to what you need to pay the bills in a garage of a certain size, and also pay yourself the money you make just now.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in leaving for less money."
Yeah.
And then when I was going through that, it says, obviously my background's completely Volkswagen, and and that's what I want to be, as a Volkswagen specialist. And he had says, if just for day one, put it on the door, they'll come to you if you're good enough. If they didn't come to you in that group, Volkswagen Audi group, just close the door. And he's like, because if you can't make it in that, you'll not make it in anything, which was fair enough. So we done it. Went on the sign for day one and just rolled with it. Just thought, well, how hard can it be?
Possibly one of your best decisions.
I would say absolutely my best decision. Like, was to stick with what I intended with, and no veer away for that just for the sake of I maybe need to make an extra couple £100 that week.
So quite early days then, you understood this is how much money I need to make each day.
Yeah.
To get what I want out of the business.
Yeah. So
and then as you're then investing in new staff, new equipment,
yeah,
you're understanding that that's going to add to this cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did your first employee happen?
6 weeks.
Oh, really? And who was that?
You were busy then from day one?
That was Big Stu that still works for me now. He was a tech at
Let
Volkswagen.
me guess. Yeah, he come from Volkswagen.
Aye.
Yeah, of course.
So I was one of the first back for furlough, and he was one of the last. And essentially, the reason that they lost him, again, where I went back and realised it was the same as what I found when I first went back. But he was an absolute machine at Volkswagen as well, as he is with us. And he smashed his target, and everybody was on bonus. And because he only worked half the month, they only paid him half the bonus, even though he made enough money to justify.
Yeah.
So it was always that if you had a couple of week holiday,
you were never earning. Don't matter how hard you work, you're not getting your bonus.
Aye. So, but before COVID, they would kind of give you a bye to the final. Like if you were off for 2 weeks, they would say, well, you probably would have hit it, and you only get a 2 week target then.
Yeah.
And you still get. I mean, it was £200.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they halved it for his £200 to £100, and he come along and says, "Can get me out of there?" And I was like, "Start whenever you want."
I
At
wonder
that point,
how
I was
much of a
busy enough.
threat, like to dealerships, specialist spin-offs are. So it's got to be their biggest.
Oh, well, they hate it, don't they? I've had all sorts of threats and
Have you?
advertising agency stuff coming through and taken to court, letters and all sorts of things.
For specialising.
Yeah, trying to.
I know that there was a lot of talk about us recently from Volkswagen, from Milton Keynes, about the local dealerships and how we're causing them like a bit of damage.
Well, you think about what you're doing now in terms of numbers.
The volume that's
Yeah.
coming from them.
How much of that would have been going to them?
Yeah, and it's got to be
It's a significant amount of money, isn't it?
the amount of customers that come in the last update on the service record is the local dealer.
Oh yeah, of course you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see that, can't
Constantly.
you?
But I've been saying more and more the last wee while as well. As I know we're really good at what we do in our business, but I think we could be pretty average and still stand out to some of these, because they're coming in and they're like, the feedback you're getting as to why they're no then going
Is wild.
is wild. Aye, and you're like, it just seems like so basic stuff. Like, why is that no?
So when this new tech came in,
Yeah.
did you start doing front of housey stuff, or were you like what? Talk me through, because this is I get asked this question a lot. How do you go from one tech to 2 service advisors and 5 or 6 technicians?
And also, was there any kind of nerves with then offering somebody a job within 6 weeks?
I was absolutely shitting myself. I never slept for about a week. Like, genuinely never slept. Like,
So why did you make that decision? Is it because you were already busy with that first sort of period of time and you thought,
Yeah.
look, it's going to be fine?
So I was doing a lot of the diagnostic work and then couldn't get into fixing them.
Yeah.
In that case, you had the
So,
demand there
It's-
anyway.
You check it, it needs a turbo. And I was
Yeah.
like,
That's a day's job, isn't it, on
A
some?
turbo's a 7-hour job on this.
Yeah.
There's always that worry though, but what about in 2 weeks' time when I still have this volume of work?
Aye,
And
yeah.
So yeah. So you
Was
take
it just
on.
was the demand was it growing?
It was just flooding in by this point. Like,
Was it really?
Couldn't keep it away, and it was, I think Facebook had a massive part to play in it. 'cause we were doing many
Just think
updates.
back to that very specifically then. So you open this garage, you post on Facebook, you do a few jobs, demand just spirals upwards.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of that down to what was happening, like recommendations on Facebook, etc. That's
Yeah.
And I guess not much competition then around for other specialists and
There was a few specialists around, but I would say not so much Diag
yeah.
orientated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is still a few good specialists about, and they've been going for a long time and they've got a good name.
Yeah.
But obviously I was trained to a really high level with the diagnostic side of it.
So that was your USP.
Aye, that was my golden ticket to
Yeah.
be like.
Yeah.
So when was the third employee? Because you've done a lot in 3 years, so
So first employee was a friend, I guess. You knew him from the dealership.
Aye.
Friend?
Yeah.
When did you first employ your non-friend? Because that's...
So the next one was an apprentice. So that was probably 6 months after it was just me and Stu. So you come in, give him a free trial, you want just a bit of work experience and stuff. He'd already completed the college stuff already. And then end up taking
How was were you on top of cash flow? How was businessy stuff at this point?
We were doing alright. Like I was never worried I couldn't pay the bills.
Right.
Like
were you on 30-day accounts with all your supplies? Was that all set up? Or
mostly it was weekly by that point. Other than TPS, who was 30 days.
Yeah.
But our Dingbro and stuff like that, we didn't use Euro car parts at the time. But our Dingbro account was weekly, so it was always settled.
Right. So you could never get in too much trouble, really.
I could never be in too much bother.
Yeah.
We were quickly getting...
Did you go VAT registered straight away?
No, I was 6 months in. 6 months in, we hit the threshold.
Yeah.
So I remember speaking to the accountant saying, I'm not fully understanding it by this point.
Yeah.
If my management software is anything to go by, I'm going to need to be VAT registered before Christmas. And he's like, nah, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. And I was
What's that looking at anything? Just said.
Aye. He was like, you'll be alright. And I was like, no, it's like it's saying I've made like 80 grand or something. And I think 85 it was at that point.
Yeah.
And then we went over the VAT threshold and had to backdate every invoice with 20% on it and pay it.
Okay, well, that cost you a bit then.
So I swiftly left that accountant.
God, that's like negligence, isn't it?
It was...
Especially if you rang them up to give them
Yeah.
a heads up.
The first thing was I phoned up after Stu had worked for the first month and says, I've not had his payslip. And they were like, who? I was like, Stuart, that I told you started a month ago. And they were like, oh, I don't know anything about him. And I was like, oh my God.
Have you got a good accountant now?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a big firm now, one of the local big firms, who have got a really good name. They're on you, like.
Yeah.
They didn't leave you alone.
Yeah.
But we needed that because our wee mistakes were becoming very big mistakes very quickly.
Well, they
with the
compound,
volume.
don't they? That's
Aye.
the problem. So at this point, I'm guessing, were you just working every hour of every day at this point?
Aye,
So there's quite a bit of sacrifice going on at home.
Me and Linda discussed before I done it that, like, it'll probably be a couple of years of us no spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But the end game should be worth it.
Yeah.
So she was prepped for it and she was very supportive with it. Like, she would come down at 9 o'clock at night with my dinner on a plate with tinfoil at the top.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'd
fair play.
Jump out to her car, quickly eat it, and give the kids a kiss, and then jump back into the garage. I was there till about 12 o'clock.
Oh, what a
most nights.
legend.
So we had set up that would
So
be...
you had the foresight to actually sit and speak about sacrifice then?
Aye,
We
we discussed that in depth before. We've got a big, quite a lovely house and stuff like that. I was like, this can all be at risk if we didn't, if this doesn't work out. But I'll make sure it works out because I'll work every hour that God gives you.
Yeah.
And she was supportive of it. I mean, I mustn't have barely been in the house for 2 years. Like,
Really?
aye.
How old were your kids then? It must have been...
So Bella would be 5 and Bonnie would be 1.
Yeah.
So really young.
How did you find it? Were you okay with that? Do you reflect on that time? Do you?
I know. I mean, it was all right because it was expected. And if it would jump back to Volkswagen, when I was going through my Diagnostic Tech and Master Tech, that was at the point where I was in the Army Reserves. So I would work whatever days I was working, end up in Milton Keynes normally 2 or 3 times a month, come straight back and go away Friday to Sunday with
Oh, really?
Para as well.
Why did you do that? On top of that,
I'm just one of the people that constantly needed something to do. Like, my mind had to be active all the time. Very borderline obsessive with it. Like,
yeah,
and I enjoyed it. So it was so we were used to being. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was going through the Diagnostic, Master Tech, and then 4 Para at the same time, we were a bit divorced us. Like, we were like. This can't work. You're never in the house. But then we changed the sort of direct what the outcome is going to be. If we're doing this for the business, it's the best for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the best for me. Want to be selfish and go away every weekend and play toy soldiers and.
No, you're investing in the future of the family, aren't you?
Aye, yeah.
So what's the team look like now then?
So there's 10 of us now. So including me and Linda, there's 10 of us now. There's Scott as a service advisor, Zub as a manager, myself and Linda as directors, but Linda does most of the accounts. I found myself jumping back too much involved in the daily, but try to extract myself a lot more. Let Zub do his thing with running the place, and start looking at growth.
Are you still fixing cars?
No,
you
never.
Stopped that.
Never. No.
Do you miss
You got
it?
6.
I do, aye. Like, there's been a couple of times I've had a wee shot back in the workshop on a Friday, like, maybe I fault.
You still have to show the boys who's boss.
Aye, that's it.
Aye.
What bastard? I know what that is.
Yeah, have you checked that?
Aye.
So 6 techs.
We've had that a couple of times now.
Have you?
A lot of the time it's pure luck. But I mean,
No
John was scratching his head on, and I think I just went like grabbed the wire and pulled it, and it was rotten or something. And he was like,
Harry Potter shit there.
he's like, at least get it more than 5 minutes. I've been in it for 4 hours. But the guys in the workshop faced Stu kind of controlling all the big stuff. Even their apprentice and everything, like young Chris, Ewan's about out his time. The boys are just phenomenal at what they do. Like, they're absolutely class at their job, and that's what makes my life so much easier. The fact that Stu will take an RS engine to pieces and rebuild it without you thinking about it. Chris is starting to rub off on him, and he'll do the same.
Yeah.
John and Ian's got the diagnostic stuff covered. B. Harley's just the first year apprentice, but even him, he could do a service on his own, do a set of brakes on his own. Like, you could leave him to it.
Yeah.
Just double check his stuff, but he's confident enough. And then our newest employee, Ewan, same again, just come from a wee independent, tough to work at garage when you're used to not having special tools. I think they had Autodata and that was it. So it was like, your mind's going to be blown when you come here and you get all this information and special tooling and stuff like that. So he's just absolutely rocketed in his ability as well. So
was there any point then during the process where you changed something up, whether it was like health checks or what you were charging? Because that seems to be a big theme, is that people have understood that they're not been charging enough, or was you kind of from day one?
So no, because for day one I opened on £60 an hour, which after 6 months was 60 plus VAT. The parts, I think I was probably putting 20% markup on them, so losing a lot of money on parts. I can't remember when I started to creep my hourly rate up. I think I was maybe still £60 when I joined Garage Hive, but then it went to 40% margin on it, done it automatically, and that when we jump into Garage
markup to 40% margin.
To Leo's question, you were doing health checks probably to a very high standard at the dealership.
Yeah.
Did that come with you?
We had nothing in place to follow it. Like, we didn't have an online checklist. I'm trying to think if I think we just wrote down on the back of the job card what it was needing now. Right.
Then it was a phone call to the customer. Right. Yeah.
In a set of brakes.
So was there any community thing or something that kind of spiked that then to put your labour rates up, charge the parts, do health checks and things?
Again, I was seeing like Barry and Stevie P, and they were always like, you need to get on Garage Hive. And I was like, no. I wanted to, but I was like, dear, like. and I'm like, oh no, Stevie Patterson came out with a good, and it's the cheapest member of staff you'll ever have. And I thought, it can't be, it's just a software, isn't it? Like, I've got a software that now it does invoices and stuff. And then it was more and more people getting on board, joined the community group, having a look through. And then you realised it was much more than just an invoicing software. When we moved on to that, it was April 22, we moved on to Garage Hive, and that was a game changer. As in, for a business running point of view, still doing the same work as far as you can still fix a car.
The processes.
But the processes and how you run the business and what you look at and how to make actual decisions based on proper finances.
Because you're obsessed with your numbers, aren't you now?
Aye, yeah, absolutely.
Like drives, like
what are your main things that you'll look at on a daily or weekly basis, KPI wise?
I get a gross profit picture every month.
Aye, yeah. GP, NPS, massive on NPS. Read every survey, reply to everyone, send them a.
Because I've just looked at your Google reviews. They're 5-star. Is it 500 odd reviews you're at,
It's 5, yep, something like that.
which is
Really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievably good.
So I forgot the question.
What's your key KPIs you look at?
GP, one of the main ones. The tech efficiencies, MPS. Also having a look through MPS. I love to look through and find it. I want to try find a way to get this to work with Chat GPT as well. How can I dump all that data into Chat GPT?
You can. We've done it.
What's the most common one we fall short on?
Yeah, we've done it.
Have you? Right. Okay.
I'll show you after this. We've done the same thing. Chucked it all in and got ChatGPT to tell us what we do wrong.
Aye, that's what I need.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm quite obsessive in making sure everybody was kept happy.
Guess what it was? Guess what the number one complaint? Communication.
It's got to be, and that's 100% got to be mine.
Yeah.
I know it for a fact.
It's crazy, isn't it? I think you've said something
basic.
like, if you communicate, you can get away
My old
with.
manager used to say, yeah, update the customer, get away with murder.
Yeah.
It's so true. And the amount of times when it's like, sometimes I know as an advisor, it's like, we've not looked at Castle yet, still not done it. It might have been there for 2 or 3 days. We just call them and say, look, just let you know we've not looked at it still yet. But if you avoid that,
You know what's a really good example? You know, when you're in the motor trade, you can't appreciate that. But you know, when you're at a restaurant and let's say everyone's meals comes out
Yeah,
and yours in there and they say it's just in the kitchen, it'll be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
fine, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay, pressure. Right, I know you know about it.
it's
and
that
I know-
whole
Just acknowledge
Uber
it.
thing, isn't it? Again, like or
Yeah.
or Domino Pizza Tracker. If you know what's going on,
Yeah.
you're fine.
It's anxiety.
It's in the
innit?
oven,
It's
isn't it?
anxiety.
Aye, yeah.
Anxiety causes bad experiences.
Yeah. Aye. So it was keep an eye on the KPIs. I keep an eye on the spreadsheet, the cost spreadsheet, and if
Are you big on the average invoice value or profits and things, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Average invoice values, again, definitely one of my main ones.
Are you VHC in every car now?
Unless it's like a comfort garage or something like that.
Yeah. So
something like
every
that,
retail job you VHC in.
Yeah. And we're getting there on the process. Zoop's driving this bit for it with VIE in every job. So
Yeah.
we run the place that busy that it was like, if you VIE it and sell it, I've not even got the time to do it.
Yeah.
So now we've went for let's back it off a bit. Even though we'd already backed it off, maybe back off a bit more.
It's a common
And-
theme, isn't it? That?
But you go on this like upward trajectory then. You start doing a VHC, then you pick and choose what you price up,
Yeah.
and then you start pricing up everything the technician finds, and then just present it to the customer and let them make the decision. It's their car, it's up to them what they want
Yeah.
done or not. And then some customers just want it all done, some will pick and choose. And then you were busy anyway, but now the volume, what you're doing on each car is increased by 30-40%.
Yeah.
So then you're even busier, and then guess what you do? Put your price up.
Yeah.
And then you just go on this upward trajectory, I think, to the point where you've got now, where you've got this £1 million+ turnover business in the space of a few years,
Yeah.
fully booked. We've had conversations about you looking for second sites or like you're just in such an unbelievably good place.
Yeah.
Are you maxed out where you are now then? So
Maxed it
you got
now.
6 technicians, have you then?
6 techs, yep. We've got an MOT bay and a Hunter alignment bay being delivered, sitting there not installed. Trying to get that signed off.
So you've got space in the premises. You must have to install an MOT bay.
Aye, kind of, not really. We're kind of really tightening up the space.
Okay.
Workshop's 4,000 square foot and I think
Yeah, that's
3,890 are done.
Yeah. So would that be 6 ramps plus an MOT bay
Yep.
in a 4,000 square foot unit?
And an alignment bay, or you?
So that it's a dual purpose.
It would double
Yeah,
up on
yeah.
the yeah.
Aye,
Yeah,
so
that-
waiting on
that's-
that getting installed,
that's
and that's going to be
properly
us. I could probably take on an MOT tester, like maybe does MOTs and does alignments in the afternoon or something like that.
So you've not been testing? You've been outsourcing tests up to now.
Aye, been outsourcing up to now. Aye, yeah.
So what
And then we have maxed it.
along the so if you're now one of these garages that people are going to be looking at and wanting advice from,
Yeah.
like
Aspiring to.
100% aspiring to. As I said, I think it's just one of the. I can think of probably one other garage that's done so well in such a short period of time. What advice would you give to you asking that question in WhatsApp 6 years ago?
I think just believe in yourself, charge accordingly with your invoices. If you've got a good ability, you can charge for it. I don't know how to add to it.
I'll put you on the spot a bit here,
Aye.
but there's
Ask me
something
in a different way.
There's something magical in what just like ChatGPT.
Aye,
It's
aye.
giving the wrong answer.
Aye.
There's something magical in what you've done though.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you did, which we spoke about, I remember speaking to you about it a few years ago, that you identified quite quickly with self-awareness, is that you're actually a bit of a problem in front of house. And you identified that and fixed it.
Yeah.
And this is where Zub walks in.
Yeah.
Who's been, you talk about key hires in the right positions.
Yeah.
He was a big deal, wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
probably a
Where
bit of
did
a
you-
risk for you to.
Where did he come from? What was his background?
He's a car sales background. It was Laura. He's worked and friends with Laura for Barry Lawson's.
Oh, okay.
So it was. I got a text at the blue one day saying, I've solved your front of house problem. You just need to hire him. And I was like, what are you on about? And she's like, I found the man for front of house. And her description was, he's just a male version of me. And I thought, right, get him in. So he come along for an interview. We offered him a job same day, and I think he started the next day.
Oh, wow.
Um,
So he's from a vehicle sales background.
vehicle sales background. So
Right,
he had all the touchy-feely, all the fluffy.
Yeah, yeah.
He just needed the technical knowledge about.
Which you're in abundance in that building.
Yeah.
He just needs to know how to get it.
Just be
Yeah.
a sponge, doesn't he, from you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
For me and him, for me having the technical background and him having he's really professional. Customers love him. Always got a smile on his face with a customer and greeting them and everything like that.
How important was that to where you are now?
It gave me my life back, that, because I was still married to the business. Couldn't take a holiday. Didn't want to take a holiday.
Yeah.
So I was worried about how it would run when I wasn't there. And
How long's he been there?
he's been a year. Oh, when did he start? October he started.
So how much have you grown in the last, if you don't mind sharing, how much have you grown in the last year?
GP wise, probably about 15, 20 grand a month.
Is that driven by...
20 grand a month growth on GP
Yeah.
in a year from
Yeah.
6 technicians.
Yeah.
So is that growth volume or
That
doing the job right, so to speak?
that would be doing the job right. Keep him on top of allowing him to do his job as well was a big part of it.
Have you struggled with that?
No me scrape him in and sticking a wee 10% on it.
Yeah.
So if somebody was, they'd been into us a couple of times and they would agree, I would even agree the price for them to do the repair, and then they come there and they're like, oh, how much was it? Was it $750? And I'd be like, oh, I've done it for $695.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing that?
Yeah, I used to be like that.
The world's worst.
It's
And
crazy, isn't it?
even now I've seen Zub pricing a job, and it'd be priced fair. It's priced at the book time on an hourly rate, with the parts on it. And you go by my computer, and if I've got it open on the screen, he's like, "What are you doing? Like, get your fingers away from that job, kid," because he knows.
You discounted something down, or...
It's their third visit, and my wee fingers are starting to go. Want to stick a bit of discount on it.
I can guarantee people listening to this can relate to that.
Yeah, but he's so leaving the other people to do their job. Like, we've got the technical guys in the workshop to be able to service, repair, rebuild, whatever that needs. The diagnostic boys in the workshop to be able to do the diagnostic work, and Zub to run the show essentially with his phenomenal customer service, and Scott, who's getting trained up now. That's allowing everybody to do their role now and step back a bit has been a massive part of the.
So you've built this life now. You've
Yeah.
got this successful business. You've got people in every position. You've got freedom. Like, do you reflect on it? Do you think back to, because it's such a short period of time? I'm sure you can still remember driving to the dealership.
Yeah, I didn't for a while. It all kind of just happened, and I was too busy. I was too tied up in it. Where I didn't actually appreciate the growth. I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened, and it fell into place. And every time I was busy, I just took somebody else on, and I was making financial based decisions, but I wasn't overthinking it until very recently. A couple of weeks ago, I think, I sat back and like locked the place up at night, and I was just like,
Fruits of your labour.
aye, this is pretty phenomenal now. And it's given me a lot more freedom now and stuff like
That
that.
sacrifice has paid off.
The first couple of years where I
Yeah.
had my arse in the air is starting to pay off, or it is paying off now, to the point that we can now get more family holidays. And so we've got a few family holidays booked this year, which I would never have done before. And
So, are you happy?
Aye,
Are you content?
very.
So, what's next?
Obviously, we've just opened the property company, which is taking off. Initially, in the first month, I was like, "Oh, this will never happen." Like looking at houses all the time, couldn't buy any. And now we've got 3 going through at the same time, so that's taking off quite fast. So I'm going to have to be mindful of that and channel a bit of energy there. I'm not ruling out a second site and further growth for the garage, but I think with Zub being able to take control of the overall running, the day-to-day, it gave me a bit of my life back and I enjoyed it. Kind of was like, oh, I could take, like next weekend we're away in the camper van again, so it'll be a Friday, Monday, it's no problem. Whereas before I'd sit there and bite my fingernails the full time I was away. I think I was going to come back and the place would be on fire or something. So I enjoyed having the life back, so for that aspect I was like, right, I want another site, and then I was like, no, I did really want, I was doing the hokey cokey with it.
How old are you?
They're now 34.
Same as what we were having that podcast today, is like if you're chasing that more money, more turnover, it will come with more stress and more time and things. So it's kind of like getting that balance, isn't it?
And ultimately,
I mean, people say I'm doing it to earn kind of more money. It's like, well, how much more? You either want to be earning like millions, or because the difference between earning like say 200 grand or 300 grand or 100 grand, and it's not game changing enough. But the investment in time and pressure will be over double. You know,
you're right.
That kind of like, if you look at it from a graph point of view, from a time and effort versus reward, unless you're going to keep scaling and going and going and going, it's almost like,
Aye.
Do you feel like, I get it right now, you're in a position in life, young family, freedom, nice profitable business.
How long have you been thinking that for as well?
It's good fun. Do you think that because
even in a week,
34 years old, I know you're going into property, which is a great place to obviously put the profits from the business. Do you think you will go again? Do you think you'll go for another cycle of arse in the air, or do you feel like
I'll definitely not go back the way and be like, I'm going to jump back on the tools for a bit or anything like that. But I know for a fact I'm impulsive and sometimes a bit reckless. So,
well, you certainly like your risks.
Aye. If another one come up and was like, here, I'm thinking about giving this up, I'd just take it. I know I would.
And that's what I mean. What I ask about how long you've been feeling that content for, because
I think
at the beginning of this year I was saying it's like you, like this year now I'm actually going to just stick with what I got, and then like literally the next day you get an offer or something, I'm like, oh, what's this?
This year's been probably your biggest growth as well in terms of other stuff.
Yeah, and
acquisitions
and time input. I think
the
things on this year have really taken a lot of time.
Yeah, it's that sacrifice, isn't it?
You should reflect, mate, because honestly, I know we speak a lot, and it's been, we've become great friends through the trade, and I love all of it. But I love nothing more than seeing successful businesses from the sidelines, and your story is just one of those that's like, if I need to point someone towards how you do it, it is 100% exactly how you've done it.
Yeah.
And you should be unbelievably proud, and the sacrifice that you've made and Linda's made, and the whole family thing, and the rewards that you're getting now, you deserve all of it, mate. It's brilliant.
Cheers, mate.
It really is.
I think a lot of it is definitely about trust what people about you are telling you as well. Like if everybody's got a Dutch back in garage hive, I pushed it back for like 2 years pretty much, and I'm not going to do it. And everybody's like, oh no, trust me, it'll make your business more profitable. And you were good enough to ask us at the start what we'd done wrong. I'm telling you now, you might be doing something wrong. We've not been on certain software or not doing a particular training course or whatever. If you trust
listen to the right people.
Surround yourself with the right people. How many times have you heard that? Surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah. And I think network is up there with the biggest
and
successes.
Because it's contrary to what we said earlier on the podcast, it's the right people, because imagine if you didn't have that network and instead you asked your friends and family, they'd probably been like, oh...
Everybody said I was off my head.
Yeah, and I remember the same thing. Like I always remember at work when I'd have a notice and told people. I remember someone going, "Oh, what about your VAT low?" I was like, "Don't know." I was like, "Apply for it." Can't be that hard, can it? But there's again people's worry about stuff.
Of course.
They put their worry on you. Same with that, like the accountant. I mind the phoning them, or they phone me and says, "Here you're starting a business," and I was like, "Aye." So this was the accountant through a family member that was going to use to start the business, and it's like, oh, you put your notice in, And I was like, aye. He's like, go and ask for it back. And I was like, what?
It's just ridiculous.
He was
isn't
like,
it?
go and ask for it back. It's
Look
too,
where you
too
are now.
uncertain and
Accountants
stuff
and
like that.
solicitors.
Aye.
Is it Warren Buffett who's like, be brave when everybody's scared or something?
Yeah.
Another
I read that post this morning.
another phrase we've absolutely butchered, but
Yeah.
you did it when everyone was shit in their pants.
Aye, yeah. If everybody's going right, go left.
Yeah.
And it should work out if you work hard enough at it.
Amazing story, mate. Thank you so much for driving down.
No worries at all.
Yeah, for popping down.
Yeah, popping down.
I just nipped in for a coffee.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Coffee in the podcast.
You're a legend, mate. I love it. I love seeing it. I love the success. I love the story. You've just done it right. You've listened to the right people. You've just followed advice, worked your tits off, made the sacrifice.
I look forward to seeing the
reaping
next
reward.
garage.
Yeah. See you when you expand.
That'll need
That
it,
beautiful black area of yours is going to turn grey if you go again, mate.
That will definitely happen at some point.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Mean
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Good
to
Hope
meet you.
you enjoyed that, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank
Cheers,
you.
bye.
Cheers.